Hello, V-Discovery viewers. This is Yitzy back again with an exciting video on legal predictions for this year. So everybody wants to make their predictions. So for you now, I'm going to make my predictions. So we'll start with the ones that I think are being overstated. So let's start with proportionality, because this one is big on my list of very highly overstated. If anybody's familiar, proportionality is more of a legal concept. But the rule changes were made in 2015, December 1st, 2015. And it was already still in the rules, it was just moved up to try to emphasize it. 4 years later, we're still talking about proportionality being a legal trend. Now, maybe me, but it sounds like, yes, proportionality may play a growing role, and they're trying to educate people, like even judges they're saying about the changes. But the fact is that seems to be overstated. We're 4 years in. It's either happened or it may happen gradually, but it's kind of on the downside. It's not really going to happen big thing. The other thing I would say is more e-discovery tools on platforms from Microsoft, Google. So now, this is happening. I am not denying this is happening. You see it already built into the tools. However, even within the built-in tools, it doesn't seem that it's built in to be able to do your productions and do a one-stop shop, where it's heading that direction, and I admit that, but it seems like we're far away, and that's not going to happen in 2020. So I would say more e-discovery tools. I mean, look, Office 365, which is where people are starting to go, is definitely a growing direction, and they have tools. But I mean, when I studied for legal collection and relativity, it was synced up to be able to get it into relativity, which clearly, if that's the case, it's not solving everything. So I would say it's going to happen, but it's on the lower side. So that's prediction number 2. Now, let's go to my favorite one. Attorneys getting more technical. Attorneys are getting more technical. There's no denying that. And I dealt with attorneys who were considered e-discovery experts. Now, these e-discovery experts oftentimes had no clue how to use a computer. I mean, some of the leading jurists basically don't. They understand it conceptually, but the fact is they may hire the people to do it, and there is a growing youthful movement of people who are coming out of law school who are the newer attorneys who are familiar with the technology. But the fact of the matter is, unless they're using day-to-day to do certain basic things, they're still not great with certain technical aspects. So while it is happening and it is an ethical requirement that is becoming more of a dominant feature, I would say it's still on the low side. Now, what things I think are definitely on the upside? Privacy. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean from an e-discovery perspective, because Nick and I have talked about the CCPA. That went into effect. And I've listened to a few CLEs, and I'm not saying I'm in touch with my local congressman, but we've had legislation in numerous states with regards to privacy, different privacy requirements, and it is a growing trend and a growing problem. You see the growth of people. There's something I'm interested with the IAPP. You see more and more people want to get credentials because privacy is becoming a bigger topic. I don't know if we'll have a national standard. There's been talk about a federal legislation. That doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon, which is problematic because then you have all different types of laws and regulations in different states. But, you know, pick the most strict one, which right now is California. I'd heard there was going to be something in New York, but that didn't pass. But I'd say privacy is on the upswing. All right. Another thing that I think is definitely on the upswing is cloud-based things. We see that in our industry, Relativity 1, people want to go to the cloud. We see it with Office 365. I'd say we're already there, that it's in the cloud movement. But I think it's going to continue to grow to be able to do it. It can reduce cost by having it stored in places that, I mean, the cloud just means it's stored somewhere else. There is a server. It's not just like some electronic form where it's floating in the air. But the fact is, it's a growing trend. There are ups and downs as far as security, but it definitely seems like a trend that's going to be happening. Finally, I would say, just from my perspective, a lot of these other things I'd say, just to cover, I might say analytics is on the upswing, and I'd say there are other ones. I would say this simple UI software, maybe on the not also on the lower, but there's a lot of these things are happening. Blockchain and e-discovery, I don't know if I buy that. But Text message-based communications, I am seeing it more often on a daily basis. The fact is we hear about ephemeral messaging, which is a problem because it's disappearing, and people are using chat applications. We use a chat application for our internal communications with certain, depending on what it is. The fact is text-based communications are happening. It's becoming more and more part and parcel of the workspace. Therefore, it's going to be more and more part of discovery. And those are my 3 major predictions for this year. This is the year where text messages becomes more highlighted cases. Things are moving to the cloud, which may be more subtle in the background, and privacy is growing. Thank you, and have a good day.